Something else I'm interested in Philadelphia, as you know, is the Ellen Greenberg case, which we've covered extensively here. Chris has covered it. We've covered it on NewsNation. The young woman from Philly, teacher, stabbed more than 20 times. There's her picture there. Stabbed in the back, stabbed in the spinal cord. First called a homicide, then changed to suicide. Then you had the medical examiner say, well, I don't really know that it's suicide anymore. Now a new medical examiner says it's suicide. And a lot of people believe there's been no justice for Ellen Greenberg. What are your thoughts on that? Is there anything you could do as DA on that front, Judge?
So if I can win and become the next district attorney in the city of Philadelphia, what I can promise that I will do, because there's obvious issues in this case. It was looked at by the Philadelphia District Attorney's Office. It was looked by the Attorney General. It was looked at by the Chester County District Attorney's Office as well. There are still a ton of questions. We've all seen a documentary. We've seen people that are saying, what the heck is going on here? Well, I've spoken to some seasoned homicide prosecutors and detectives, a couple of them who actually saw some of the file. And based off of all that, if I win, I am going to sit down with seasoned attorneys, prosecutors, homicide prosecutors, and detectives and do a thorough review and then make my determination on whether or not this case should go ahead and move forward. But I must do due diligence and read the entire file with the team, and then I would make a decision on that. Okay. Because there are some obvious mistakes were made in the very beginning. Yeah. But for Ellen and her parents, this needs to be looked at again with some fresh eyes. Yeah, it's obvious there were mistakes. I want to bring in Ellen Greenberg's parents now. They're also going to join us live. Sandy and Josh Greenberg, they've been listening to the conversation. Sandy, I want to ask you your reaction to Judge Dugan saying if he's elected, he would take a look at the case and then decide whether to reinvestigate. I mean, that's not something that I've heard from very many people in Philly.
Music to our ears. From his mouth to God's ears. We need, Larry Krasner was our personal attorney. And then when he ran for office, he had a conflict of interest. But what he's not telling everyone is he had more than a conflict of interest because he never returned our personal file that he withheld. And he did a lot of other very disingenuous, unprofessional, unethical things.
Josh, is there anything, because we've still got Judge Dugan here, is there anything you want to ask him? I mean, anything you want to say to him, considering he's running in the elections in a week or so, a little over a week?
It's hard to say. My knowledge of the case is probably more extensive than his, or maybe it's not. I don't know. I do appreciate his saying the words he does and offering his help if he's elected. But the Ellen's case, I mean, if you look at even this last medical examiner, it's so bogus. She talks about anxiety as a cause of death. Ellen was anxious. Her psychiatrist said she's anxious. This medical examiner never even spoke to her psychiatrist. But anxiety doesn't lead to suicide. So the whole thing from the top down, the first expert, Cyril Wecht. Now that name should ring a lot of bells among the people who really know what's going on in this world in medical legal. Cyril Wecht was a professional pathologist and was an investigator in these type of things. And he said right away, women don't kill themselves anymore using knives. So Ellen's case from that is bogus. And then if you look at the wounds on the rendering we have, the computer generated, nothing there is deep enough to cause death. The only wounds are the head, right? See, look how superficial those knife wounds are. Yeah. They almost don't penetrate. The back of the neck, the head, and the chest.
And she did have defensive wounds, unlike what Dr. Simon.
Well, and Sandy, to me, that diagram we're looking at right there has always told the story. I mean, you see that and you realize, how could someone do that to themselves?
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.